All right, so part 2 of the senior projects. Thank you for coming. I just want to say a few words about this student who I'm about to introduce. He was one of the first people I got to teach at Griffin, and in his sophomore year, first semester, made a brilliant 2D platformer that kind of showed me this is a student who's like going to go that extra mile to do something difficult that he's super passionate about. I feel really lucky to work with students who don't just want to like consume media, but see media and are like, I want to participate in this. I want to use this to tell a story. And especially to be an independent game designer, it means you're a programmer, you're an artist, you're a sound designer, a composer, an animator. Albert knew this going into it and was like, yeah, I want to do it. So I'm just super proud that he took that on. And today you're going to get to see what it looks like when a student spends most of an entire year pouring their heart and soul into a project like this. Albert got a glimpse into sort of the realities of making a video game from scratch by yourself, good, bad, and ugly. It gets really challenging, and times you're like your only person there to help you see through some of those dark times. So I'm just proud that we've gotten this far. This first foray into creation by a creator who's going to be making things for the rest of his life, I already know. So I'm proud to present Albert Chambers and his video game Flipside.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So this is the title of my game. This is still technically a working title. It is an RPG video game. So this year I chose to create a video game in Unity. I wanted to make the game because I already have experience making games. I just wanted to make something similar to like my favorite games that inspired me to do this. The game I've been working on right now is called Flipside, and like I said, it's a working title. It takes place in a town called Flipside in the year 2000X, which is does not mean 2010. It just means that the year is unspecified. I was very heavily inspired by some of my favorite RPG style video games like Omori, Earthbound. We're working on this game. So here's what I'm going to be going over. So part 1 is the goals. My initial goals were to get the RPG basics and a little bit more. I was going to have a 4-character party, functional battle system with attacking and healing, functional dialogue system, scripted sequence, and 1 interior cell, which is like an interior space. Then my revised final goals by the end of the year were to just have the very basics, the like 4-character party system, functional battle system, attack, dialogue, and 1 interior cell. So the project overall, what was making this project like? I started keeping a weekly development log, which ended up being about 20 pages long, where I put my progress and goals. Every art asset in the game I did in pixel art on my own in a program called Sprite, which is specifically like pixel art focused program. Except for the portraits, I did not do those. Laurel did those, and I'm very grateful for that. I was also building this project in Unity, which is very powerful and multi-use engine, but that means that it doesn't have specifically designed systems for RPGs, so it's kind of like more difficult, and I had to program the systems on my own. So the process overall, whenever I was adding anything, was to go from a concept, making the art and the code for it, then testing it out and debugging and improving it. I'd say that the part of this that takes the longest part, the longest amount of time, is the debugging and improving, because video game development is very, very buggy. So part 3 is the art, and this description is the sprite mode multiple thing. This is the compression settings you have to apply to pixel art assets in Unity for them to not appear blurry and compressed. So I divided them up into like 3 categories, kind of 4. We have characters, tiles, and HUD, which is like the heads-up display UI. Characters, there are 4 characters. They're all animated, and that includes enemies and NPCs. Tiles are like what makes up the rest of the game world, and the HUD is the UI. I have some concept art here. This is like the battle system, the town, and Laurel did that character sheet for the main character. So there are 4 main characters. Each one has only 4 frames of animation just to like save like time and animation. I'm also not great at animation, especially pixel art animation. And the actual resolution of each one is only about 60 by 16 pixels, which is extremely small. The tiles are also 60 by 16 pixels. They make up the game world. This like grid with the black background is a palette, which I can use to draw sprites into the game world, and then I can have unique characteristics assigned to them, like the ground or collision. So it determines like what the game world looks like, but also what renders where and like how things work, which you can and can't walk through. Then there's the HUD, which is the like everything except for that, like the dialogue system, the battle system is mostly HUD. The portraits, of course, the critter goes below, like I said. Then part 4, sorry, is the code. I had to put some null reference exceptions in here, which is a very common error, and also this horrifying notice that your project may break if you don't launch it in safe mode. Overall, there are 1,439 lines of code, and that might not be an accurate estimate. That's probably small, which I think is small. I've never really made a game of this scale, but it's definitely like 10 different scripts. And from what you'll see, it's it's actually still pretty bare bones. So what did I have to code? Basically everything. I programmed the dialogue, battle system, character movement, scene transition, even parts of the HUD. I got a lot of help from Sean on this part because I'm not really good at programming, but I got a lot better. And this is probably the biggest holdup in programming or in making the game, because this is where all the bugs would happen, and also where I have the least experience. So the systems that I designed, I wanted my game systems to all allow for future expansion. So this meant taking a lot of time to make them really compact and work efficiently. So the dialogue system allows for different portraits, names, all types of text. The battle system is functional with different numbers of enemies, different types of enemies, and it doesn't have this, but it will eventually have unique abilities for each character. And the most complex systems I found were actually the battle system and the walking system, because of the scene transitions, which are an absolute nightmare. And I won't explain why. The story. This is the part that I admittedly spent probably the least amount of time on. I developed the 4 main characters. There's Tarsi, Asher, Sophia, and Jen. Tarsi is actually a part of a beetle's foot, and they have lots of beetle theming. They're the player character. Asher is like a silly guy inspired by Kel from Omori. Sophia is really caring in the gardening, painting. Jen is like a nerd and also very strong because each of their characters kind of tie into their roles in battle. Tarsi's a generalist, Asher is a speedy, high damage. Sophia is a healer / caster, and Jen is the tank. Then the story overall is revolves around. This is very, very, very much inspired by Omori. Basically, just at this point, plagiarism. 4 friends explore mysteries of the town of Flipside. The game begins with a dream memory sequence, remembering hours just before something really weird and mysterious and horrible happened. The game will overall take place between memory and real-world sections. Both of them take place in or around the town of Flipside. Memories are happy and stuff, but then as time goes on, they start to show cracks and the mystery starts to develop. I wanted the story to pick up years later after this event that I mentioned earlier, where all of the all the friends are returning to the town after not seeing each other for a long time, and focusing on how the town and each character has changed. And yeah, you can probably see where this is extremely similar to Omori. So the final product, what does it look like now? I have a video to show you. There's only 3 locations. Oh, not questions yet. I have 3 locations. I have a battle system. I can't show too much because it's kind of hard to get around everywhere. But before I show you the video, future stuff I want to work on. I want to continue development. Some of the assets that are old, I want to redo. I want to realize all of the goals that I had initially, and maybe create a publicly accessible version really soon. If you're interested, I currently have a working version that you can download. I will warn you, it is extremely buggy. And this is my video that I'm going to show you. This is very, very loud, so I'm just going to turn it down a bit. So this is a very, very, very basic walking system, as you can see. You can probably tell which things are tiles. All the characters are animated. There's this little plaza area. There's some shops. There's the game flop. There's the soundbar. And then this is the little demo of the dialogue system. You can it's really modular. You can have there be no name. You can have there be names. You can have there be portraits. You can have there be no portraits. That took a little while, but not as long as the battle system, which you're about to see. It's interesting. Each character gets 1 turn to attack, and I ended up kind of with the enemies being super weak because they get attacked 4 times before they can even do anything. So it's it needs more polish. So yeah, I don't take up too much more time. So questions. started like analyzing like pixel art in games more, so I can be heavily inspired by it. And I also just started analyzing like game stories more, and like how games communicate the story through like environmental storytelling and just characters in general. So yeah, it's changed a little bit.
What was the most fun part of making it?
The most fun part of making this was probably the pixel art. The rest of it was kind of sometimes awful. Yes.
Why do you choose Unity as that?
Well, I have experience working in Unity already. I definitely wouldn't choose it now because Unity is making some very questionable decisions as a company. And also, I originally wanted to make it in RPG Maker, which would have made this a lot easier. But I don't have any experience with it, so we've been a long time like learning, not a lot of time developing.
When do you think you'll be done with this?
Well, I'd say it's kind of hard to define done, but if you want like an estimate for when I'll have all of the like stuff implemented, if I just work on it like nonstop for the rest of summer, I could probably get it done in maybe like another month or two. And then honestly, if I get those done, I can let you guys play it. I can upload a version of Drive or something you can play.
What was the hardest?
The programming and the scene transition specifically. There's a lot of really weird bugs with that, and they're still not fixed, which is why I don't really want people to play the game right now.
Who's your favorite character?
I think I like Ashley the most. He's like.
How hard is it to do the UI component? Because I feel like I always struggle with that in game design.
It's kind of hard to like hit like a balance between like taking up too much space and conveying the right amount of information. It wasn't extremely difficult because I'm not implementing like something that's always on the screen, but whenever it does appear, like it needs to be very precisely sized so that like things don't show up. So I guess it's like moderately difficult. The balance system is harder than
Where can we find it?
Hmm?
Where can we find it?
Once it's like done, I will probably put a version, or once it's like playable enough, I will put a version of it. I don't know, somewhere. I'll email people if you guys want it.
What was some of the annoying bugs about it?
The scene transition thing, there's a bug where you get like off center from the middle of the tile, which makes it impossible for you to like cross the street.
Do you have any advice for someone who wants to make a game for the first time?
If you want to make a game for the first time, I think you should just go ahead and start making the game, because even if you don't know what you're doing at first, you'll find something that you like, and it's good to just like put stuff in that you like and think is cool, because that's the only way you're going to learn what you like to do and how to do it.
What kind of code does Unity use, and are you more comfortable with that kind of code?
Unity only uses C#, I think, which is an actually pretty easy to use coding language. I've never really used it for anything else, but I think I might be biased, but if I were to write like software or something, I'll just use C#.
Why did you pick an RPG? Why did you pick an RPG?
I wanted to make an RPG because like some of my favorite games are RPGs, like Aware and Earthbound and One Shot and a few other things. That's also like RPG, like not like Fallout or The Elder Scrolls. It's like, you know, what Earthbound looks like top-down perspective, like old RPGs.